there will be less chances to have a lot of memories. Okay, these are the ways or the methods that we do to reduce the thinking and thoughts. But always remember, thinking and thoughts or the memories are not that. Okay, this is the answer of the first question. Hope the questioner understood. Okay, second question.
Many questions about the painful. So I choose one. The question is, when practice, they feel very painful, many kind of painful, and they want to know how to solve it, how to overcome the pain, to concentrate on practice.
Okay, regarding the pain also, the same thing like the thinking and thoughts, pain, unpleasant sensations, they are not the problems. They are not the obstacles. They are not the disturbance of our practice. The unpleasant sensations are also the object of observation of the Vipassana meditation. So the first very important thing is we have to put aside about the wrong concept of the pain, that this pain are the disturbance, this pain are the obstacles, this pain are the problems in our meditation. Suppose not, they prevent. It is very important to remove that kind of wrong view or opinion, because if we don't have the right view on the pain, about the pain, so it will be very hard to face the unpleasant sensation. Mind will not be dare enough. It will be coward to face the pain. So that's why it is very important to remove the wrong view about the unpleasant sensations. And the next is, when we observe the pain, we should not have the intention to disappear, to get rid out of the pain. We don't observe the pain to disappear. We should not have that intention. As long as we have that intention, the pain will not disappear, the pain will not reduce. We are observing the pain not to disappear, but to know about it, to know about the pain, to know about the unpleasant sensation, to know in detail. So that's why when we observe the pain, we should have just the intention to know about the pain or the unpleasant sensation. And to know about it, we have to observe closely the unpleasant sensation. And the more we come to know about the unpleasant sensation, the more it will be, the easier it will be to absorb the pain, or to forbear, or to be patient on the pain. So simply we can say that the more we come to know about the pain, the more it will be easy to be patient or to overcome the pain. And it is also about the patience. We have to be patient. The more at the beginning of the practice, of course, the mental power of being patient is not strong. So in every sitting, we have to be patient as long as we can, as possible as we can. Maybe this sitting we can forbear for 5 minutes. Next time we have to increase, maybe 6 minutes or maybe 10 minutes. Maybe next time more than that. So when we become able to do so in every sitting, slowly the mental power of being patient will develop. And when the patience of the mind, the mental power of being patient will develop, then no matter how the painful sensations are there in our body or how severe pain is that, no matter, we will be able to easily overcome or easily will able to go through into that pain. And when we observe the pain, unpleasant sensations, first we have to observe closely as possible as we can. We have to go closer and closer. By doing so, if we feel very hard or if it's become really unbearable, then step backward for a while. That means observe from distance, bit far distance, not too closely. And for a while observe from that distance. And when again mind will say that, okay, now I can observe closer again. Then move closer. Then again, when it become again unbearable, then move backward. So doing forth and back, also we can deal with the pain or unpleasant sensations. And again, if it becomes really unbearable, sometimes you can ignore the pain. You can change the object. You may go back to the primary object. But of course, to go back to primary object, to observe the rising and falling, you will need to apply extra energy. You will need to apply extra energy to observe the primary object. So that is also we can do sometimes. Just change the object. Just ignore the pain and try to choose the primary object or some other obvious object. And again, when you think that now you can return back to the pain to observe, then return back to the pain. The most important thing to deal with the pain or to face with the pain is we have to have the courageous mind or the inspiring mind. And that is, we have to have that, I can do this. That kind of mind, courageous mind, must be present when we are observing the pain. I can do this. I can do this. I can deal with this pain. I can go through with this pain. So that kind of mind must be present while we are observing the pain. Okay, this is the answer for the second question. Hope questioner got the answer.
When sitting meditation, they feel the rising and falling disappear for about few minutes. To observe rising and falling is disappear. Some people feel they can knowing about the breathe in and breathe out. But someone feel the breath also disappear. So they want to ask Bhante about what thing they can observe. Can they observe the breathe in and breathe out when the rising and falling disappear?
Okay, there are the many conditions. There are the many conditions or the situation due to what it happens like that. The first is because of losing the mindfulness, or when we lose mindfulness also the rising and falling may disappear, or if the observing mind is not strong enough at a time also we feel that the rising and falling is disappearing. Sometimes not actually the rising and falling is disappearing, but because of the weak mindfulness or the lack of strong mindfulness, we feel that the rising and falling is disappearing. So in this case, what we need to do is first we have to try to redirect our mind to the abdomen. Try to redirect the mind to the abdomen, or simply we can say try to focus back to the abdomen and try to observe closely. Make sure first that we are not losing or missing the rising and falling due to the lack of or due to the weakness of the mindfulness. So the first is make sure that our mindfulness is good enough. We are not losing our mindfulness, or our mindfulness is not weak, and focus back to the abdomen. Refocus. We say refocus. Like we say restart. Similarly, we have to refocus or redirect our mind to the abdomen. So this is the first condition, that the rising and falling sometimes become blur or feel disappear due to the lack of mindfulness, or due to the weakness of the mindfulness. And second condition is, although we are mindful and we are developing the strong mindfulness, at that time also naturally sometimes rising and falling disappears. Even sometimes abdomen disappears. This is natural. This is natural. First, we have to understand that this is the natural thing. This is the common thing. So, although we have good mindfulness, if we cannot see the rising and falling, or if we are not seeing rising and falling, in not seeing about the rising and falling also, we can talk about the two situation. Like sometimes rising and falling is not there, but there may have some sensations, like tension is there, tightness is there, stiffness is there. Abdomen is so tight, so it's not being able to move. So we cannot see rising and falling. Means abdomen still can be observed, or the sensation on the abdomen still can observe, only cannot see the rising and falling. At that time, we can observe the tension or the tightness or the stiffness of the abdomen. So these stiffness, tension, tightness will be the primary observation. So if tension is there, notice tension. If tightness is there, tightness. If whatever sensations are present on the abdomen, we can observe that. Another situation is sometimes we cannot see, neither we can see rising and falling, nor we can see any other sensation on the abdomen. Totally, the abdomen has been disappeared. So in that situation, we can change our object. We can observe any other obvious object in our body. It could be sometimes the in-breath and out-breath. Those whose yogis has the obvious in-breath and out-breath, they can observe in-breath, out-breath. Those who have the sensations in the different parts of the body, they can observe the sensation, the obvious one. Any obvious object can observe. And while observing other objects, if again the rising and falling become obvious or if reappears, then again come back. We have to come back to the again, rising. Okay, these are the most obvious conditions that we face during the practice about the rising and falling. Hope the questioners got the answer.
Bhante have a yogis at the capacity have to hear about the mindfulness. Bhante also said about that, and it's very important. They don't understand and don't know about what is mindful. So if Bhante can explain for her.
Okay, mindfulness. Mindfulness, we call it in Pali as a sati. In Pali, mindfulness called as sati. So mindfulness is establishing closely to the meditative object, any kind of meditative object. So if our mind is closely establishing, closely observing the object, so that means at that time mindfulness is present. For example, yesterday also I mentioned to observe the rising and falling. We have to apply the energy and we have to aim our mind. By applying enough energy, by aiming accurately, by applying these two factors, mind slowly will establish closely to the abdomen. So that is the mindfulness. If mind has been established closely to the abdomen, rising and falling, then there is the presence of the mindfulness. And when we establish our mind closely to the abdomen, rising and falling, so the over and over we do so, sometimes we feel that mind is going inside to the meditative object. It could be rising and falling, it could be even pain, it could be the mental object. When we feel that mind is penetrating or the diving into the object, that is also the presence of the mindfulness. And simply, we can define the mindfulness or the sati, remembering. This is the general translation. But the remembering means not the remembering of the past action or the past memories or the past is. That is the remembrance that we use in our daily life. That is not the sati. In the practice, the sati is remembering or remembering the presently arising object. Means it could be the bodily object, it could be the mental object. So again, we can say simply remembering, or in very understanding word, we can say recording what is happening in our body and mind. So the recorder is the mindfulness. So we can say that mindfulness is the factor which closely establishes to the object, or which penetrates into the object, and records which records about that object is the mindfulness. And in another way, we can also understand about the sati is the sati mindfulness will not let the object to go out of the view. It will not let any object to go away from the view. So it keeps in view the object. If rising and falling is taking place, it keeps in view. So if mind and thinking and thoughts are there, it keeps in view. It will not get out of the view. So that is also the mindfulness. In order to understand practically, what we just need to do is we have to apply energy and we have to aim the object. When we apply these two factors, when yogis, meditators will experience by themselves that mind is establishing closely to the object, then at that time it will be very clear for the meditators that what is the mindfulness. It will not establish closely only with the abdomen, but every single object arising in whole body, in every part of the body. The mindfulness is not going to miss. The mindfulness is not going to forget. The mindfulness is not going to lose that, not miss that. At that time, it will be clear that, oh, because of the mindfulness, I'm not even missing single object arising in our body, in our mind. I'm being able to recognize all the objects arising in body and mind. At that time also, it will be very clear about the meaning or the definition of the mindfulness. Okay, hope questioner got the answer.
Sorry, but
Hope questioner got the answer.
yes, Bhante. Have a yogis want to ask about when meditate for a long time, his back is bent, and he wants to ask, should he bending or let's keep it until the end?
At the beginning of the practice, most of the time, or most of the yogis, they encounter this kind of condition, like a automatic bending of the body. So it happens also because when we try to observe the abdomen, when you try to focus, when you try to go closer to the abdomen, slowly our back bends forward. So, but it is not a problem when we realize that our back has been bended. So it is better to upright, because if it remain bended, then it would be hard to observe the rising and falling, because when the body bends, then our abdomen, our abdomen will be folded. So it would be hard to absorb the rising and falling. So better to upright. But when we upright also, first we have to note the intention mind to upright, wanting to upright, wanting to upright. Then when uprighting or stretching the body also, note stretching. Do it slowly, slowly, gently, stretching, stretching, stretching. When it comes to normal position, then go back to acting. After a while, again you realize the same condition, then do the same process. It happens, beginners, due to the weak mindfulness, energy, and the concentration as well. When mindfulness, concentration, and energy will become stronger, at that time the body will remain upright or sitting. So that means no more bending will be there. It will remain always upright. At the beginning, some of the yogis may face often happening so during an hour of the sitting meditation, more than 5 times or the 6 times it may happen. Don't be disappointed about that. At the beginning it may happen, so just upright, note the intention mind to upright, and while uprighting also do it slowly. When you do repeatedly, mind slowly will be reminded that, oh, the body must be uprighted always. So when mind will be reminded automatically by repeatedly doing so, then it will remain upright by itself. Okay, this is the answer. Hope questioner got the answer.
On the day beginning of the retreat, on the 16th of meditate, I feel very sleepy and I have fallen on asleep. I feel very disappointed for myself and want to ask Bhante how to overcome the sleepiness.
The main reason of feeling sleepiness is due to the weakness of the aiming mind, directing mind. If our aiming mind is no good, then we feel sleepy, mind become dizzy also. So we have to aim accurately. That's why yesterday I emphasized that important during the practice. We have to aim accurately. If aiming is not good, then sleepiness will be there. Slot and turtle, we call it. And in the field of the practice, we call it slot and turtle. Slot and turtle will be there. So we have to aim accurately to the meditative object. The aiming mind keeps our mind active. It blossoms the mind. Because when the slot and turtle is there, sleepiness is there, that means contracted mind. Our mind is not active at that time, it is contracted. So these two things are opposite to each other. Sleepiness and slot and turtle are contracted mind, and aiming mind is active and which blooms the mind. So if the directing mind is present, then no contracted mind, no slot and turtle. And if slot and turtle or the sleepiness is there, means mind has been contracted. Mind has been contracted and it is not active enough. Oh, we all may have the experience about this, like at the night on the bed. Sometimes our mind is too much active, thinking this one, that one. So many thinking are taking place. Mind is running here and there. At that time, we hardly fall asleep. It is very hard to sleep. So the aiming mind is like that. The aiming mind keeps active our mind so that we don't feel sleepiness or sloth and torpor has no chance to arise. So we have to activate our mind by aiming again and again, not only one time, like rising, falling, then another rising, falling, then another rising, falling. We have to keep aiming again and again every presently arising object. If we do so, then mind become active. Then we will not feel sleepiness. And if aiming mind is no good, at the same time, energy is also no good, and there will be the laziness also. If energy is not there, then laziness is there. So if both are present, like not enough accurate aiming mind and energy is also weak, so it is very easy to fall asleep. It is very easy to appear the sloth and torpor. So that's why, in order to not to be lazy also, and to not to be lazy and to not to appear the sloth and torpor, mind also must be active, energetic, enthusiastic. That means we have to apply very strong energy, enough energy, and repeatedly we have to apply. So the solution is to increase the energy to aim accurately to the object. This is the first solution of this sloth and torpor. The second option could be the increasing the number of the object, like we mentioned about when there are many thinking and thoughts. Increasing the number of the object, like rising, falling, touching, rising, falling, touching. The same method also can be applied here. While mind there is sloth and torpor, so you can try this one also. Note rising, falling, touching, rising, falling, touching. Make the mind busy. So making the mind busy means making the mind active. So by making active the mind, we can reduce the sloth and torpor. We can subside the sloth and torpor. Okay, I hope the questioner understood.
When meditate, the yogis to control the rising and falling fast and slow as he would. And he want to ask Bhante if he do that, is it is right or wrong?
We should not do the artificial breathing. We should not, neither we should slow down, neither we should haste the breathing. The breathing must be normal. If we try to control the breathing, then very soon we will get tired. That is the first reason we should not control the breathing. And the second is, if our breathing is artificial, then when we observe rising and falling, that also will be the artificial knowing. We are knowing the not the natural one. We we are knowing artificially, because by practicing meditation, we are trying to know the real and the natural thing that is existing in our body. So to know the natural, or we can say the ultimate truth, the body, the breathing again should be natural. Some of the yogi may doing artificial in-breath and out-breath because of not being able to observe the rising and falling, because the could be because the abdomen is not clear. So this is not the option we do. If the rising and falling is not clear, what we need to do is we have to increase the level of the aiming mind and the energy. That is the thing we have to do to see clearly the rising and falling. The controlling the breathing or doing artificial breathing is not the way or the option to observe or to make clearer the rising and falling. Okay, then hope that the question got the answer.
Yes, Bhante, I have one question about have a yogi have doubt about he don't know he on the breathing now. He have doubt about this when he observe the rising and falling. If he doubt about he control.
So first we have to make sure that we are doing in breath and out breath normally, breathing normally. And that if we are sure that we are breathing normally, then there is no intention to control. So make sure that there is no intention to control or to make fast or to make slow the breathing. So we have to take care first about the intention to do so. If no intention to do so, then and also check with if we are sure that we are not doing artificially, then it's okay. We don't need to worry about that. And while observing rising and falling, because we are applying energy, we are trying to focus. So because of that also sometimes we may have that kind of doubt that whether I am breathing normally or not. Because we come to see different kinds of rising and falling that we have never experienced, that we have never imagined. Different kind of rising and falling we come to see, sometimes moving so slowly, sometimes fastly, sometimes not moving much. So in this way we come to see different varieties of the rising and falling. That could be the reason having doubt about the unnatural breathing. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. It happens. It happens due to during the meditation, at the beginning of the meditation. Okay.
Yes, Bhante, sadhu, sadhu.
I think we have to stop now. It's already 9:30 over there. So the question that we haven't answered, we will try to answer next time. Okay, no hesitation to ask the question. If you have any confusion, any question about the practice, or any doubt during the practice, you can just message to the organizer and we can answer like this in next sections. Okay, keep trying harder. Hope all the meditators will keep trying harder. And very soon very soon you will develop very good mindfulness and you will enjoy real happiness.